Superman Complex. In psychology, a Superman complex is an unhealthy sense of responsibility, or the belief that everyone else lacks the capacity to successfully perform one or more tasks. Such a person may feel a constant need to save others, and in the process, takes on more work on their own. God Complex. A God complex is an unshakable belief characterized by consistently inflated feelings of personal ability, privilege, or infallibility. The person is also highly dogmatic in their views, meaning the person speaks of their personal opinions as though they were unquestionably correct. Someone with a God complex may exhibit no regard for the conventions and demands of society and may request special consideration or privileges. Superior Complex. A superiority complex is a defense mechanism that develops over time to help a person cope with feelings of inferiority. The term was coined by Alfred Adler in the early 1900s as part of his school of individual psychology. Individuals with a superiority complex typically come across as supercilious, haughty, and disdainful toward others. They may treat others in an imperious, overbearing, and even aggressive manner. Adonis Complex. Muscle dysmorphia is a subtype of the obsessive mental disorder body dysmorphic disorder, but is often also grouped with eating disorders. In muscle dysmorphia, which is sometimes called bigorexia, megorexia, or reverse anorexia, the delusional or exaggerated belief is that one's own body is too small, too skinny, insufficiently muscular, or insufficiently lean, although in most cases, the individual's build is normal, or even exceptionally large and muscular already. Persecution. A persecutory delusion is a type of delusional condition in which the affected person believes that harm is going to occur to oneself by a persecutor, despite a clear lack of evidence. The person may believe that they are being targeted by an individual or a group of people. Persecution delusions are very diverse in terms of content and vary from the possible, although improbable, to the completely bizarre. The delusion can be found in various disorders, being more usual in psychotic disorders. Electra Complex. In Neo-Freudian psychology, the Electra Complex, as proposed by Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst Carl Jung in his theory of psychoanalysis, is a girl's psychosexual competition with her mother for possession of her father. In the course of her psychosexual development, the complex is the girl's phallic stage. A boy's analogous experience is the Oedipus Complex. The Electra Complex occurs in the third, phallic stage, ages 3-6, of 5 psychosexual development stages: the oral, the anal, the phallic, the latent, and the genital, in which the source of libido pleasure is in a different erogenous zone of the infant's body. Don Juan Complex. Don Juan syndrome is a non-clinical term for the desire, in a man, to have sex with many different female partners. The name derives from the Don Juan of opera and fiction. The term satyriasis is sometimes used as a synonym for Don Juanism. The term has also been referred to as the male equivalent of nymphomania in women. These terms no longer apply with any accuracy as psychological or legal categories of psychological disorder. Father Complex. Father Complex in psychology is a complex, a group of unconscious associations or strong unconscious impulses, which specifically pertains to the image or archetype of the father. These impulses may be either positive, admiring and seeking out older father figures, or negative, distrusting or fearful. Savior Complex. In psychology, a savior complex is an attitude and demeanor in which a person believes they are responsible for assisting other people. A person with a savior complex will often experience empathic episodes and commit to impulsive decisions, such as volunteering, donating, or advocating for a cause. A person with the complex will usually make an attempt to assist or continue to assist, even if they are not helpful or are detrimental to the situation, others, or themselves. Phaeton Complex. The Phaeton Complex is a psychological condition described by Maurice Choisy as a painful combination of thoughts and emotions caused by the absence, loss, coldness, or traumatizing behavior of one or both parents, resulting in frustration and aggression. Phaedra Complex. The Phaedra Complex is an informal, non-scientific designation to the sexual desire of a stepmother for her stepson, though the term has been extended to cover difficult relationships between stepparents and stepchildren in general. Peter Pan Complex. Peter Pan syndrome is the popular psychology concept of an adult who is socially immature. The category is an informal one invoked by lay people and some psychology professionals in popular psychology. Ophelia Complex. Ophelia Complex is the term used by Gaston Bachelard to refer to the links between femininity, liquids, and drowning which he saw as symbolized in the fate of Shakespeare's Ophelia. Oedipus Complex. In classical psychoanalytic theory, the Oedipus Complex refers to a son's sexual attitude towards his mother and concomitant hostility toward his father, first formed during the phallic stage of psychosexual development. Napoleon Complex. The Napoleon Complex, also known as Napoleon Syndrome and Short Man Syndrome, is a purported condition normally attributed to people of short stature, with overly aggressive or domineering social behavior. It implies that such behavior is to compensate for the subject's physical or social shortcomings. Messiah Complex. The Messiah Complex is a mental state in which a person believes they are a messiah or prophet and will save or redeem people in a religious endeavor. The term can also refer to a state of mind in which an individual believes that they are responsible for saving or assisting others. Medusa Complex. Medusa Complex is a psychological complex revolving around the petrification or freezing of human emotion and drawing on the classical myth of the Medusa. The term Medusa Complex was coined in 1948 by Gaston Bachelard to cover the feeling of petrification induced by the threat of the parental gaze. Martyr Complex. In psychology, a person who has a martyr complex, sometimes associated with the term victim complex, desires the feeling of being a martyr for their own sake and seeks out suffering or persecution because it either feeds a physical need or a desire to avoid responsibility. In some cases, this results from the belief that the martyr has been singled out for persecution because of exceptional ability or integrity. Madonna-Whore Complex. In psychoanalytic literature, a Madonna-Whore Complex, also called a Madonna-Mistress Complex, is the inability to maintain sexual arousal within a committed and loving relationship. First identified by Sigmund Freud, who called it psychic impotence, it is a psychological complex that is said to develop in men who see women as either saintly Madonnas or debased whores. Men with this complex desire a sexual partner who has been degraded, whore, while they cannot desire the respected partner, Madonna. Laius Complex. The Laius Complex revolves around the paternal wish for filicide, particularly for the extinction of the male heir, in an attempt to ensure one will have no successors. Jonah Complex. The Jonah Complex is the fear of success, or the fear of being one's best. This fear prevents self-actualization, or the realization of one's own potential. It is the fear of one's own greatness, the evasion of one's destiny, or the avoidance of exercising one's talents. Inferiority Complex. In psychology, inferiority complex is a consistent feeling of inadequacy, often resulting in the belief that one is in some way deficient or inferior to others. Icarus Complex. The Icarus Complex is a term in psychoanalysis and personality theory first used by Henry A. Murray to describe a particular type of overambitious character. Psychosynthesis has applied it to those in whom spiritual ambition exceeds their personality limits, leading to a backlash. Hero Complex. Hero complex is a psychological disorder that causes a person to seek recognition for heroism. Cinderella Complex. The Cinderella Complex was first described by Colette Dowling, who wrote a book on women's fear of independence, an unconscious desire to be taken care of by someone else. The complex is said to become more apparent as a person grows older.